Major, late in the first quarter, they had two turnovers back to back.
Right.
I think 3 out of 4. Kind of shifted things a little bit. Can you kind of get into what that was able to do for your guys to capitalize on those turnovers?
Well, right now, we're the type of team that obviously plays well with the lead. I thought we might find some adversity because their offense causes a lot of problems. We might be down 7-0, we might be down 3-0 or 10-0, and have to battle out of a hole. But it was just kind of a frenzy. Now, I'd like to have seen us score a touchdown after that first turnover and make it 14-0 instead of 10-0. But you get short fields like that, and your defense plays that well. It just creates an energy in the stadium, creates an energy on offense. Both you start playing complementary football, offensively, defensively, and you just kind of you just get this momentum thing going, like you see in basketball on these 11-0 runs, stuff like that. But we've got to challenge ourselves, be very humble in our approach, and realize that we played with leads, and that at some point you're going to play with a deficit. And we got to get ready for a great team that can do that to you, that can score a lot of points. So we've got a lot to improve on.
Richard, could you explain Duke Catalan's targeting, or at least what the official was trying to address? Because we saw that a loss of what he was really trying to get to.
Yeah, it was such, usually when you just see vicious hits, it's so hard for those guys to watch. I know there's 8 of them out there, but there's 22 players, and it's hard for them to see everything. And, the ball crossed field, and he was trying to go get a block for his teammate, and his hat was lowered, but he did a good job of taking his hat out of the head area and trying to keep his head up as best he could, and he went to the shoulder area. So they, fortunately they waved that off and, let us continue to play. But they're gonna. And I think that's good though. That's good. That's good for our game. That's good for the health of our game. It helps preserve the kids, the players, the student athletes. It helps preserve our game by officiating that part of it.
Hey, Major, over here. Can you talk a little bit about the effort that you saw from Peyton Turner today? Kind of took us all by storm. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
He's got a long way to go and a lot to improve on, but he's got a nice frame that he can continue to build. He's intelligent. He comes from a very good family, coach's family, a lot of athletes in their family, so he understands what it is to be competitive. He's got expectations from the home, so he's used to having to achieve, and so I'm looking forward to him continue to move and grow and develop, and that's one thing that we spent a lot of time talking about yesterday at our walkthrough. Is there's a lot of guys on our team who've developed. The Amekia Boules, the Jared Williams, the Josh Jones. I mean, all those guys have come in and developed. Peyton Turner's on that list, but we've got to continue to develop, and our younger guys have to continue to develop. So pleased with what he did and came in and played, but he's going to have a good future. He just continues to stay humble and hungry.
Major, can you tell us how the pregame handshake idea came about?
We wanted to do something. I know Rice had contacted us, and Coach Bailiff and I had spoke over the phone a couple times, and there was just so many different ideas. And then David Bassity had mentioned, I think it was the beginning of the 2009 season. Everybody started off the 2009 year, wherever they were, whatever opening game they were, they walked off from the hashes and shook hands, and that was just like the most efficient way to get one team out of their locker room opposite end zone, one team out of their locker room opposite end zone, and just kind of meet from the hashes, and just a sign of solidarity, towards our community. And there's a lot of people that graduated from both of these fine schools that still live here, and at the end of the day, this is a great thing for the city of Houston. This game is, I think we should do it to begin every season. I think it's just great for our community. This is a football town, no doubt.
Major, to piggyback off of his Peyton question, was it this week in practice, or did you see something at the end of camp that put him in position this early in the year to play?
Well, it all goes back to recruiting. We wanted to recruit some body types. There's one thing I learned from Coach Saban in his first year is let me just change the way this roster looks by trying to recruit some body types, and then develop those, and then find the right body types from the right families that are in position to have that kind of that makeup character to continue to develop. And so we've been on him all fall camp, and all summer really, June and July. In terms of learning the defense, you have the length, you have the flexibility, you got to develop the strength to put on the weight. He just needs to continue to come. I know he will. He's a good young man. He comes from a great family, so we're 98% of the way there.
Just to follow up, when you're in a game like this, you had the opportunity. You got a bunch of receivers that worked into the game plan. You got postman. Looks like you got a couple of the candidates for the number 3 running back.
think so. And, you know, just competitive experience is very, very important. You know, I mean, talent is too. Talent's very important. But you see it a lot of times. I think you probably see it more in NCAA basketball where you see great talent that's very youthful, but it doesn't have the competitive experience to finish. You know, and you'll see Fab Five or whatever. They just, you know what I mean? And so it was good to get a bunch of those young guys in and just kind of see how they played under the lights, how they got signals, how they handled good plays, bad plays. But, yeah, we were able to get a lot of those guys in. So we obviously got really conservative offensively in the second half because it's such a long season, but excited to see those guys. And it's just good to get their feet wet and continue to put them in those situations.
Coach, Kyle Allen went 31 for 33. Did he look a little sharp this week, or did you notice anything extra coming out of him this week?
I'm being very honest. I thought we didn't practice very well offensively, you know, and this week. And I was on the offensive staff really hard because how do we practice like this and score 19 points and think it's okay? You know, so they were able to play well and perform well, but our standard and the way we want to practice wasn't the way it should be. So, no, I had no idea that he was getting ready to throw in two incompletions by the way we practiced.
Coach, you said going off the practice thing, so going into a matchup against Texas Tech, a team that can put up a lot against the other team, what are some of the things you'll be focusing on practice this week to make sure that the offensive output stays the same?
Well, I think we made our point, you know, Thursday and Friday with the offense in terms of how we practice. You know, Wednesday, Tuesday is an install day, so it's new, so there's going to be some mental errors, and I can live with that, you know. But how hard we go is non-negotiable. And then Wednesday, you're putting in some red zone, you're putting in some third down thoughts, same thing. I can understand a few screw-ups in those segments, but what you come back and repeat from Tuesday's practice ought to be better. You know, you've already practiced it Tuesday. I know it was new. Now it's your second time, and it wasn't as good. And so that was disappointing. Then on Thursday, we had Thursday's practice, and you get a second day to come back and repeat what you did on Wednesday, our third down and red zone package, and it wasn't as good. And so yesterday was, you know, a tough deal. It was like, listen, we got a Friday walkthrough. We got to get this right. You know, so I think you had some seniors, some leadership guys that stepped up, and some starters that understood, yeah, this isn't quite right, and they practiced very well. But we've got to take care of the football. We've got to be able to run the football. Ever since I remember playing against Texas Tech in '99 on, which is kind of that leech, you know, score a bunch of points mentality. It's take care of the football, win the kicking game, play great defense, keep things in front of you. You know, and you've got to be able to run the ball and in some respects control the clock. Now, that's just kind of traditional coaches' cliche stuff, but I'll be able to watch them and see if that still fits this year.
Going back to Kyle Allen's performance, what did you see from him at night that maybe was missing or that wasn't done right last week?
It's hard because I'm watching more of the defense. You know, I'm trying to watch the defense and see what they're doing and what downs they're doing it on, what portions of the field. It seemed like things, you know, came out on rhythm a little better. It was just a little faster, but it's hard to kind of judge that right now, Sam, because I haven't watched it. But it just seemed like he played with more anticipation. Just felt a little bit more comfortable. I thought our wide receivers got involved early. A lot of them got involved early, so, you know, those little guys, those wideouts, you know, they're so temperamental, but it was good that they all touched the football early and kind of got excited. And they're a good group, but they just need to continue to work and get better.
Major, any decision, or did you consider De'Eric at all, or was he pretty much a no-go today?
That has been the hardest thing for us as an offensive staff and me as a head coach the last 2 weeks, because a guy who works his butt off and, you know, is just trying to get back, and he was a lot better this week than last week. But, you know, we just kind of made a decision yesterday afternoon as a staff and just said, you know, after the walkthrough and watching practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is, you know, it's a long season. If we absolutely have to have him, you know, because we're talking about playing freshmen and people with no experience, then we can explore that. But I think it's best for our football team, and it's certainly best for him that he continues to get an opportunity to heal up and kind of slowly get himself back into it. But he's really, really close. I mean, he's really close. So it was a discussion all the way at pregame meal today at, you know, at 3 o'clock.
Was that okay? He came out that one drive where was it just a breather?
It was a shoulder pad. You know, he had a shoulder pad thing that was missing, so officials asked him to come out until he got it fixed.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the pregame handshake and what it meant to the city. When you see the two teams come out like that, how does it feel for you seeing what this can do for the city of Houston in this tough time?
It's symbolic, it's a symbolic gesture. I think what our players have done and what our staffs and our universities done have been a lot more impressive than a handshake. But I think that's just a symbol of what the two universities have done the last couple weeks in terms of trying to do their part. There's a lot of people doing a lot besides just Rice and Houston. So, everybody needs to be acknowledged, not just these football teams. But I think it was just a great gesture, the symbol of universities coming together in our city and how much we love it. And, that's about it.
You've been around now a few years, different places, different stadiums. What was the pregame handshake like? I mean, you don't see that very often. Can you kind of describe what you guys did in terms of just going up there and what maybe that meant? It's kind of a show of a sign of solidarity.
Yeah, and I wasn't really aware of that until we actually did it, and it was cool just showing that the city is unified. It's a rivalry game, but after all that Houston's been through recently, we're unified as a city. We're here to come back, and we're here to give back and help and rebuild the city. So I think that was a cool gesture at the beginning.
For Matt and Linnell, when you guys finally saw and got to wear the jersey with Houston on the back, what did you guys think?
Hashtag for the city. Same.
Linnell, just curious, you've had some injuries at receiver. To see Kyle have so many different guys to throw to tonight, what does that say just in terms of moving forward until you get Pierre, until you get Ellis back, just to have some guys stand up like John did tonight and Keith and so forth?
This is the most experienced receiving core we had since I've been here. We have 5 seniors at receiver, and the young guys stepped up too. So I think this is the best and the most depth-wise, receiver core we had. So I think we're gonna have a pretty good and flashy year this year.
Hey, Matt, how proud are you of the defense so far this season? I think they've only allowed 19 points. What can you say about that?
As a defense as a whole, I'm very proud because every time we walked out on the field, I can feel the edge that we came out on the field. We took the field with. We was ready to get off 3 and out every time. And even though the score was like 30-0 or something like that, we came out there like it was 0-0, and we was trying to get off the field for the offense to get back on.
Anything else for the players? Yeah, Matt, you got the bucket right after the game. How did it feel having that in your hands, taking it to the fans? Kind of give me what it was like to have that trophy.
For the city, everything we do it for the city and for each other, So it was a great home win to start it off, undefeated at home. That's all I say.